Hello, everyone. Welcome to our second week in June, our Hillcrest Tennis Live series. Today, it's a little bit rainy. We have our junior programs inside. So I'd like to take some time today and go over some of my top tips to help you be more effective at the net. So first of all, we'll talk about confidence. Number 2, we'll talk about see the ball. Number 3, your forward momentum. Number 4, know when to move. Number 5, keeping your elbow close. Number 6, watch the ball all the way through contact. Number 7, hit to the correct spot. And number 8, float with the direction of the ball. And then number 9, finish. Okay? So today, first we'll talk about number 1, confidence. So confidence when you're at the net is key. When we are hesitant and when we have our second guess ourselves, we tend to stand up and we tend to move backwards. And so if we have that confidence to hold our ground and to hold strong to your position, you don't necessarily have to move forward, but you definitely want to have the confidence in yourself and in your partner, and then also in your shots that you belong at the net. Too often do we see people, slowly moving back, and that's when you get hit, that's when you get popped. Or now as you move back, your angles open up, and so you open up the court for your opponent. So we really want to hold your ground and stay low. Staying low is super important because, once you stand up, it's like, I always refer to it like being in a boxing match. If you think about a boxer, they stay low and they keep their hands up so that they don't get popped. Same concept here. If you stay low and you keep your hands up, your reflexes, your brain will click in to protect yourself if your hands are up. But if your hands drop, that's when our confidence is low. Then now we're vulnerable. So keep those hands up and keep that shows your confidence right there. Keeping your hands up and holding your ground and staying low. You don't have to be like in a squat position, but just in that ready position so that you're ready to move or be in that reflex position. That's really going to help your effectiveness at the net. As soon as you believe in yourself, now you're able to move with confidence and you're able to move with a purpose. So I always tell the people that I'm working with, hold your ground, you fake it till you make it, and really hold strong to that spot at the net. Don't give any ground, because as soon as you do, now you're on the defense and your momentum is moving backwards. So confidence is key. That's why it's my number 1. Number 2, all right, seeing the ball. All right, we've talked about this a lot in a lot of these lives. Seeing the ball is so crucial. Seeing the ball early will help you prepare earlier. So seeing the ball off of your opponent's racket, and I would even say, especially when you're starting to warm up, instead of seeing the ball as it's bouncing on your side, you really want to see the ball as it's bouncing on your opponent's side. So really helping you track, that's going to help you track the ball, and that's going to help your reaction time. So seeing the ball, if anything, off of your opponent's racket as they hit, that's when you should be seeing the ball. Very often, the tendency is to see the ball as it's bouncing on your side. At that point, it's too late, or as it's crossed the net. If you're at the net, if it's crossed your side of the net, it's too late. And now your reaction, you have no time. So give yourself that time by seeing the ball and anticipating the ball early. And that will boost your confidence, because now you're seeing the ball and you can react and you can anticipate what's going to happen instead of just reacting. You are reacting before the ball bounces on your side or crosses your side of the net. So that will really help your confidence. Okay, so seeing the ball early, tracking the ball off of your opponent's racket, that is key, especially when you're at the net and when you're playing somebody that hits the ball hard. If you're tracking it as they hit, now you're seeing the ball out in front rather than back here and when you're off balance. So seeing the ball early off of their racket, and that's going to help you take the ball early. And that is going to transition into our number 3, which is our forward momentum. All right, so when I've got a little diagram here. So when we are moving forward, okay, so if we're looking at our little diagram here, okay, and sorry, let me move this out of the way here. Okay, so if you're at the net, okay, if you're at the net and let's say your partner is this guy right here, okay, and you're standing in position for your partner to receive the ball off of the serve, okay, a lot of times I see people standing over here, okay. Now, that is all fine because it gives your partner a lot of room to hit, but it does not allow you as the person at the net to give you any sort of forward momentum. You're now having to come to the middle, and then maybe if you have time, you come to the middle of the box. So what I like to see is the person at the net, I like to see them standing a little bit closer to the middle. And it also puts pressure on the server because now you've crowded the middle, okay? It may you'll have to practice this with your partners, but if you're crowding that middle, now you've closed that opening that would be here in the middle of the court, okay? And then, so as soon as this person here, and as soon as your partner hits the return, as soon as they hit that return, this person has to close in and get that forward momentum, okay? So as you, so that your partner returns and then you're moving forward. Now what happens is when you're moving forward, now you're going to be drawing the ball to you, okay? And that's what we want. We want that forward momentum that's going to allow you to catch the ball like we talked about with seeing the ball. You want to see the ball out in front of your body. That same thing here. This forward momentum allows you to hit out here versus back behind. Okay, so that's going to help. And you're really wanting to be right in the center of the box and about a racket and a half's length away from the net. Okay, and now we'll move over here so you can see a little bit more. So now your momentum is going to be up and back. And so I always talk about, and this is going to go into our final point, but I'll kind of touch on it right now. But following the flow of the ball. So if you are at the net, and so for example, this person moves to here because they follow the flow of the ball, which is here. So they're going to be moving forward. Their momentum is moving forward. Now, if the ball goes back cross court again, okay, so it's going back this way, you kind of shift back to right about here because you don't have to stand, because if you're stationary, okay, then and a bird can land on you, now you're not effective at the net, okay, so you might as well be on the baseline, okay, so you want to follow the flow of the ball. So if the ball passes you going cross court to your partner, you take one step back, okay, and then as your partner goes to hit now and it crosses you again, now you move forward. And today in one of our clinics, we discussed how getting closer to the net closes the angle on your opponent. So the closer you are to the net, the less angle your opponent has to hit to, okay? And the easier the volley. So you want to flow with the ball. So the ball is now in front of you, so you have to be moving forward, Okay. And now if they choose to go down the line, you can cut that ball off and you're going to hit it here. So you really want to be ebbing and flowing with the ball. So if the ball passes you and goes behind you, you take a step back. And then as it goes forward, then you take a step forward. So you're in constant ebb and flow and motion with the ball. And now you're going to be more effective and you're going to be more alert. You're going to be seeing the ball a lot better than if you're just stationary at the net. Okay. All right. So that's forward momentum. Okay. And now we're going to talk about when to move. Okay. And so we're going to go into, and all of this information, this goes into like developing that tennis IQ that we've talked about. You know, as you become more aware of what you're doing on the court and where you are in relation to the ball and in relation to your partner, the more you become the smarter player you become, and you are now you can be more effective that way, especially when you know where you are and where you have hit to. And so that goes into our zones. Okay, so these are our zones: zone 1, zone 2, zone 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, this being the baseline and the service line here. Okay, so knowing when to move and when to be anticipating that poach or anticipating the middle ball or even the down the line ball. Okay, so you know, if you're that person, here we go, we'll move this little guy here. So if this is you, okay, and your partner's back here, okay, so you really want to again flow with the ball. So if your partner hits to zone 4, okay, you should be kind of neutral here. All right. But, you know, once they hit into zone 3, now you're going to have to kind of shift over a little bit because you have to be responsible for that down the line. Okay. Now, if they hit into 2 or 1, but it's a softer angle, you do need to make sure that you're over here, but you also need to be anticipating kind of that middle ball that's going to be a floater that you can hit to the open court. But really, when you're looking to move, if you were to split this half of the court up, you know, right about there, anything from the middle over to the center of the court, you should be looking to for that poach or for that middle ball. That's really when you should be looking to cut that ball off. Okay. And then also when your opponent is in 5 or 6, you know, you should be looking for the overhead and to be finishing that point off. All right. But really being aware of where you hit within the zones and anticipating so that you can be, you know, typically when you're at the net, you don't want to be past zone 2. You should be zone 2 and mostly 1 in here. Okay. All right. So now we're going to move into a little bit of technical. So we're going to be talking about keeping the elbow close. So a lot of times, if you're going to be hitting down on the ball, your elbow does have to come away from your body a little bit. But now your footwork comes into play when your elbow comes too far away from your body. You really have to make sure that you're taking that step. Too often do we get the ball too far away from, or a racket too far away from our body, and then we tend to use our arm, and that's where we get into some trouble where we hit the ball. So really making sure that you're moving. If the ball is high and our elbow has to get away from your body, really making sure that your feet move to contact. We can't swing at that ball. All right. Same thing with the backhand. You really have to make sure that you get your body into the ball. Okay. Or your feet, excuse me. And then you move your body to the ball. to contact. Okay. But really, I really like to think about like squeezing my elbow to my body, because that really makes me think I have to move to wherever my contact is. So if my elbow is kind of glued to my belly button, it really makes me move into position, and it keeps my arm strong, rather than if it's too far away, the shape of my racket gets kind of flat here. Whereas if I keep it strong, the shape of my racket has that nice angle. Okay, now we're moving on to watching the ball all the way. So tracking it to the racket, and finish the stroke before you look up. So finish, especially when that ball is coming fast, the tendency is to look too soon. So really track it all the way. It helps keep your racket still, and then watching it all the way, and then you can look up to because you know where you're wanting to hit it. So just hit it and then look up and then move. So don't get ahead of yourself and try and multitask. Hit the ball, track it all the way to the racket, then you can move back into position. Okay, making sure that you're hitting to the right spot. Okay, so we'll go back to our little diagram here. Really, we talk a lot about, if it's a high ball, then you change direction because you can hurt your opponent. If it's a low hard ball, you have to hit back to where the ball came from. So that's an extremely key principle that we forget sometimes, especially when we get into point situations. So just remember, if the ball is hit hard and direct or hard and low, hit back cross court or where the ball came from. Typically it will be cross court. Or if the ball is high and slow, then you can change direction of the ball. If you can hurt your opponent, change direction. Okay, so let's talk about where you should hit. So if your partner is serving or returning over here, okay, and this is you, okay, you really want to be hitting. This is really your open spot. Okay, you can either, and I also like to imagine there's a V here, and anything outside the V is what we're looking for. That's going to help. That's going to facilitate a lot of short balls, and it's also going to you're going to be using you're going to be able to put a lot of balls away. So maybe they get to these balls here, okay, but just remember, just because they get to it doesn't mean that they're going to hit a good shot. So you're really looking to hit a shot that will create an opportunity to put the ball away. Okay, so you're really, when your momentum's moving forward, you're moving forward to the net strap and to the net post, and then you're also looking to put the ball away outside this V. That's the biggest thing. The V, seeing the V, and then also, if you have one here and one here, you can also hit to this open spot here. That's your biggest spot to hit to, especially if the ball is hard and low. Just block it back to the middle of the court, and more often than not, you're going to win the point, or you're going to have a ball hit back that will be a put away. Okay. All right. And then number 8, we've already kind of discussed. We talked about moving with the flow of the ball. So, again, going back to this example, if you're at the net here, you're ebbing and flowing with that ball. So if the ball passes you, you move back. If it comes forward, then you move forward with the ball. Helping that momentum and that ebb and flow is going to help you see the ball earlier, and it will allow you opportunities to put the ball away. And then my final tip would be to make sure that you finish. All right, finish the point when you're at the net. If you get that opportunity, finish the point. Don't hit right back to them. Hit off to the side, outside that V. You can also hit right back at that net person. Make them feel defensive. And you can go at their feet, you can go at their body box, but really making sure that you finish the point, and that will give you plenty of opportunities to win points, to win games, and then also to win matches. You'll become more effective, and I really think that these key points are points that we know, but we also have to implement into our game. And so I hope this was helpful. We have league coming up here in about a month. Looking forward to seeing all of you play. Thank you for all of your support. Come down and play some tennis, and we'll hope to see you soon. Have a wonderful rest of your week, and we will see you around the courts. Thank you.